Hey, Robin, what up? What up?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing okay today. Having a good day.
Good. It's a good qualifier. So how can I help?
So my husband and I kind of have an issue right now. A few years ago, he had a life-threatening condition, which caused him to really become depressed and start drinking. And since then, we've kind of grown apart. I really don't trust him to make our big decisions in life, and he feels like he's left out of our relationship, which is just causing the depression to be worse. And I'm, we just have a small baby. I'm 3 months postpartum, and I'm looking to the future and to make our lives better. And he is really stuck on things that have happened in the recent past. And so I just don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to get back on the same page. And it's been really hard.
Yeah. So what happened? What was his life-threatening challenge that he had?
He found out he has a blood clotting disorder.
Okay.
He almost died. He had to have emergency surgery.
Okay.
And will be on medication for the rest of his life.
Okay.
And it's a pretty big challenge.
Yeah. What's the challenge?
It's just a different life for him. He's not taking it well, not being in good health.
Okay.
Knowing that no matter what, he's always going to have this looming over him. And, in his job, if he hurts himself, that could be a very big problem. And he works manual labor, so that is always something he worries about. And the potential, for our son to be affected and our lives to be affected. He just took it really hard when he got sick and never really got over that kind of really traumatic incident.
I want to challenge your language. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Nothing has caused him to drink, or nothing has caused him to take a path of throwing his hands up and saying, well, I guess this is just that.
Yeah.
That is the path he has chosen. And it could be learned, it could be genetic, it could be all that wound up together, twisted up. I don't really care how we got here.
Yes.
But the choice on a daily basis to choose worry, a thing that will absolutely contribute nothing to a problem and only make it worse. To choose not good health, to choose not to be plugged in and, okay, so I can't do X, Y, and Z. Cool. I'm going to take the next 2 to 3 to 5 years to learn a new trade, a new skill, because I got a little baby and I got a wife.
Yeah.
The choice to not get plugged in with you and this new baby, and this because you're also calling me 3 months postpartum, which tells me you are dying from loneliness, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And so all that to say is, I know I'm sounding harsh. Nobody chooses to be depressed. Nobody chooses to be anxious, but you do choose way upstream to not do the things you need to do to go get well, to go ask somebody for help. Right?
Yeah.
And so, until there's some ownership taken in your home, you're right. It's just going to be a stumbly, crumbly car wreck. And here's the terrifying thing that I know you know this intellectually, but I want to say it and let you be witnessed, okay? You can't change anything for him. He has to make that choice for himself.
I'm kind of there, yep.
So the question you have to ask yourself is, are you being honest with him about what you need and maybe a path he could take to help more around the house, to participate more in your marriage, to all marriages get sideways when you have a 3-month-old. That's just part of it. Okay. And if everybody knows that your money's messed up, your sleep's messed up, your sex life's messed up, all these things are kind of messed up when you have a 3-month-old, that something's not broken. This is just part of it, right? When your car's getting, repaired, it's not driving. That's okay. We know that. So, are you giving him a path towards what you need? Here's what I need in this marriage right now. We've never been married and had a 3-month-old. We're here now. Here's what I need. Here's what I want. Are you being really clear with him?
I try to be. I don't
Okay.
know if I'm really clear with myself.
That's the next question. Tell me about that.
I'm just, I'm had a hard life myself. I'm had a very traumatic childhood, and I tend to be overfunctioning, and so I have a hard time saying, okay, is this too clear? Right? Because I'm the kind of person who's pretty upfront and honest, but I think I take it a little too far, and I'm blunt is sometimes mean or unhelpful, not in the right timing or in the right tone or something where it just makes it a lot worse.
Okay. Is that something you're interested in learning new ways to move? So have you ever sat down and asked him, how can I love you better? How can I love you in a different way?
Yes, I have, with the intention, but again, I don't see I have a hard time putting my feelings aside when it comes to those things, because I feel neglected and I feel lonely.
Okay.
And so sometimes we get into that conversation, but it's easy to get very defensive.
Okay. Defensive when he says, well, I can't get close to you because you're mean.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you respond by getting mean, and he goes, see?
Yeah.
And then you feel lonely, and then that makes you mean, and then he says, I can't. It just creates this dance, right?
Yes.
Okay. In the same way, I would look him in the eye if he was sitting right here in front of me and ask him, what is this worry? What is this just cashing out on your life? What is that getting you? Or as Dr. Phil would ask, how's that working for you? I would ask you the same thing. What is living in feelings and responding and keeping people at arm's length with bluntness and with defensiveness? How's that working?
Not very well.
Okay. Yeah. It's exhausting too, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happened when you were a little girl?
Both of my parents were pretty hardcore drug addicts and were pretty neglectful. I was the oldest of three, and I was the one who took care of everybody.
Yeah.
And so I just am now kind of learning, first of all, that was not a normal childhood.
Right. And
that I don't have to be the one in charge all the time.
And that means, if we were in person, I would keep pressing there, but I know we're short on time.
Yeah.
That means you're going to have to learn to let somebody care for you and learn to let somebody love you.
I actually just recently signed up for my own individual counseling.
Hey, way to go, dude. But hey, here's another scary thing. With the picture you've painted of your husband, he may not show up.
That's what I'm worried about.
Okay. The only way to figure that out is to head right into it.
Okay.
Do you think he's gonna, if you sat down and said, I'm mean and I've been trying to protect myself for all these years and I want to give you an opportunity. I need you to love me in this kind of way. Do you think he'll go, finally? Or he'll go, I'm not doing that?
Well, I hope finally.
I know we can all hope.
I don't know.
But what do you think?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. It's been a very hard road, and I guess part of me thinks that maybe it'll be the latter. And that hurts. But
how much more will it hurt than the daily just hurt you live in right now?
That's a good question. That is a very good question. I mean, and again, with a baby, it's like beyond me even. It's whether or not this is good for my son.
Yeah.
And
y'all's son.
Our son, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's the little things when your language starts to shift, when it becomes mine and like my and I, that's when you start slowly circling the wagons.
Yeah.
And you've lived behind a wall your whole life. You had to. That's how you survived. That's how you kept your siblings alive. And that's going to be the death of your marriage. And sounds like your husband got a tough curveball thrown at him by life and he just quit.
That is pretty much how it feels.
Okay. I would love for you to invite him out somewhere, go somewhere, change the environment a little bit, and tell him, I've never been married to a guy. This is your first kid, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've never been married to a guy who's a dad. And you've never been married to a woman who's a mom. And I'm tired of being mean and I'm tired of not letting you love me. And I'm also scared to death that you've just quit your life. I'm all in if you're all in because we got to rebuild a new marriage. And then I think you have to understand in your guts, both in your feelings and intellectually, that you're choosing your hard here. There's no easy path forward. It's going to be hard to rebuild your marriage and learn to trust. And because everything in your body is going to tell you, don't do this, because it remembers mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be really hard just sitting there while your marriage slowly drowns.
Yeah, it has been really hard.
I know. So there's no easy path here. I'm going to suggest you choose the hard, which has the possibility to leading towards light and goodness and peace in your home. And if it ends up, he looks you in the eye and says, I'm not doing any of that stuff, then he's made some choices and you'll have to deal with that hard choice. But it's at least you've got some resolution and you've got a path forward. Right now, you're just drowning in quicksand. And this little boy is looking at you saying, Mommy, is this how this is supposed to be? And you're like, no. I'm going to do something different than my parents gave me. Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
And by the way, marriages don't just end. People quit. Okay? And if two people say, I am going to go to the end of the earth to make this thing work and to make this thing the best it could possibly be, are you in? And the other person says, I'm all in. It's magic. It's not magic. It's just hard work. But this illusion that marriages just run out of gas, it's not true. People just take their foot off the gas pedal. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So it's not going to end unless both of you quit or one of you quit. And then it does. And then you'll have to deal with that aftermath. But let me say these things in order, okay? Number one, everything in your marriage should feel topsy-turvy and upside down right now. You have a 3-month-old. It's your first kid. Everything is different than you thought, okay? That's not crazy. You're not broken. There's not something wrong. It just is. And his choice of coping mechanisms, whether that's just cashing out, it's not learning a new trade, it is just drinking himself to death after a medical diagnosis, that's a choice. All those things are choices. And he can make different choices. He's always going to have a blood clotting disorder. And what an amazing gift that he happens to be alive in a sliver of history where they have blood clotting medication. Amazing. Does any of us want to be chained to meds for the rest of our life? No. But dude, the alternative is he's not with us anymore. So thank God we've got the meds, right? That's awesome. Amazing. Let's celebrate that. And then let's ask, okay, what's next? And the choice you'll have in front of you is, are we done? Or are we going to rebuild something new? As a new mom and a new dad and somebody learning a new trade because it's not safe to keep doing my job and I got to do something different because I got to provide for my family and I need purpose and I need you to let me love you. And all those things, man. Hard, scary. And when he tells you the truth, you have to decide, okay, I'm not going to get all on my feels and respond. I'm going to exhale. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to choose not to go to war with you. I'm going to choose not to be mean. But he has to choose to engage, right? And let's get to a place where we can ask ourselves this question. How do we want this home to feel? when both of us get home. Phew, let's just reverse engineer that. Congratulations on having this new little boy. He's lucky to have you as his mom. And you have fought and scratched and clawed and survived so much. Let's redesign this marriage and let's rebuild it and let's go create it. Because it has the chance to be something amazing. Thanks for the call, Robin.